Already not fitted, ring me bottle half nigga, get my red bottoms doing summer competition, more hell than storm, girls on the line, summer brainstorm, my career, I'll kill it. Call my nigga Rachel for the finish, you got the dope bitch to make the girl see me, turn out even for the business, type of twin.
I said before that, you know, if you don't understand, the music is not for you, it's for me. I do all my videos live, uncut. 32-0 with 22 knockouts, the #1 contender for the IBF 147-pound title, Kell, the special one, Special K Brook of the UK. So what I do here on this grand establishment, I call TstreeT Controversy, TstreeT Controversy Live. Subscribe, all the links are right below. I do nothing but research boxing all day, every day. In fact, I've made quite a nice living doing it. So, as a fan of the sport, I'm just like you. But the only thing is, I watch more fights than you. I watch them over and over and over again. I study it, you know, just like a trainer would, studying footage, tapes of the fighter he's training. Also, when it comes to like the news and the rumors and all that stuff, yeah, this is the place you come for that. So, let's talk about Kell Brook. Kell Brook, 32-0 with 22 knockouts. My God, that record is awesome, isn't it? But when you look at the record, you see guys that are like 31 and 189, 11 and 58, like 21 and 310. I mean, that last one I'm not sure of, but go look at his record and then look at the quality of opposition. The only quality opposition, and depending on how you look at these fighters, is Matthew Hatton, Vojislav Sinchenko, that's the guy who Paulie Malignaggi last stopped, you know, from a swollen cut in the eye, and 2 fights with Carson Jones. Special K, Kell Brook, was on his way to good things. He had a fight with Carson Jones back in 2012. In that fight, he became the #1 contender for the IBF title. And at that point in time, was it Devin Alexander? I think it was Randall Bailey had it at that time. You know, the IBF title. So, if you listen to what I'm saying, he's been a #1 contender for 2 years for this belt. Now, he's fighting a fighter who fight fans and boxing media or pundits or whatever you want to call him, they're saying he's the next, well, he's the small Mike Tyson. Shawn, Showtime Porter, 24-0-1 with 15 knockouts. But the major controversy here is, the major controversy is what's going on with the drug testing. You got an interview with Kell Brook from IFL TV. You know, Cook and Cassius. I watch everybody's videos, but basically he's the overseas version of like a Radio Raheem. He gets all the exclusive interviews with the UK or the English fighters per se. So in the interview that was published about 2 weeks ago, so I'm going to say it's no less than 3 weeks old. If you know, the fight was on August 16, 2016 in the StubHub Center. I mean, August 16, 2014 in the StubHub Center, you know, in California. About 3 weeks ago, he said, well, you know, in the contracts, we wanted, you know, we asked about the drug testing and what was going on with it, and, you know, we haven't been tested on anything yet. So basically, I'm going to tell you, they're using UCLA drug testing, and it started just a short time ago. No Wada, no Vada, no Usada. Now, when it comes to, well, why are you using these guys? You're a world champion. You're supposed to be using the best drug testing. And I'm not saying that Shawn Porter's juicing, but these are the things you have to talk about as suspect. In the sport of boxing today, you have to get your name as far away from performance-enhancing drugs as you can, because if you're even rumored or hinted at it, it's going to follow you for the rest of your career. Now Shawn Porter is mixed up in that. Because why? This whole drug testing thing should have been taken care of by his advisor, manager, Al Heyman. Him, you know, his father, everybody to say, listen, oh, you know, we don't want to get mixed up in that, you know, people saying we on we juicing enough, and let's make sure we get this drug testing thing taken care of from the beginning. It just looks suspect. Now, the fact that on another interview with Behind the Gloves, Michelle Joy Phelps, he's talking about, you hear his father like talking in like a not, I don't want to say nervous, but you can tell like, oh man, I got to make sure I'm prepared for this question when he asked me about this drug testing. And like I said, the whole situation looks rather suspect. So I'm not saying he's juicing, but then you got to say, well, he's only had 3 knockouts in his last 10 fights. Paulie Malignaggi, and the way he just ran through him had people say, yo, how did he just become like this? He's a 5'6", 5'7" at best pressure fighter that has good boxing ability, and the punching power is there, despite the fact that he only has 15 knockouts. If I'm correct, he's 26 or 27 years old. He's more defined in his game right now. This is a guy who, at one point in time in his career, was fighting at 160 pounds. Was fighting at middleweight. And I don't remember if he actually fought over 160 or not, but I know he had like fights at 157 and things like that. But now he's settled in at 147 pounds. And the way he just steamrolled Paulie Malignaggi and the beating he put on a very credible, even though I knew there was questions about Devin Alexander, he put a beating on Devin Alexander to make you think like, yo, he's good. Then the way he just demolished Paulie Malignaggi, and it was sad what he did to Paulie Malignaggi, a fighter who does not get stopped and just keeps going. Basically, you don't knock him out. Paulie never had nothing like that done to him before. So when you're looking at all this, and especially with social media and how fans are so extra critical these days, and we look at every single thing and we're like, we're going to make sure this person is, you got to call it out, because if it was any other boxer, just like the Manny Pacquiao's and, when they're talking about him juicing and the Marquez and all that, you got to call this stuff out. Because see, if we the fans are not talking about it, these boxers, how you going to know? Us fans know. We know that when it comes to drug testing, like that's a big deal. We know that it's a big deal. We know that it should be the first thing taken care of at the beginning of a fight. At the negotiations. I say this. People want to say that Kell Brook is going to get knocked out, demolished. I've watched many Kell Brook fights. I'm going to do further. I'm going to talk a little bit more about Kell Brook. His promoter is a guy who I actually admire, Eddie Hearn of Matchroom Sport, Matchroom Boxing. His father's very powerful as well. This guy is the overseas version, the United Kingdom's version of Golden Boy Promotions. If you haven't heard about a super fight that I promoted on Into the Arena where Americans just didn't seem to give a fuck about, called Fries versus George Groves 2 in front of 80,000 people. Now you're going to say, some people are going to say, oh, it wasn't really 80,000. It was only like 74,000 people in there. Okay, 74,000 people. That deserves some credibility, and also the fact that that may be the most purchased pay-per-view of this year, period, as far as the UK, meaning, if I'm correct, somewhere around 900,000 pay-per-view buys over there. So that's stuff that had to be talked about. Now, there's been rumors of this promoter wanting to expand to the U.S. boxing scene, and I want him to do so. I want him to set up an office in New York or somewhere, and bring his promoting style, to the States. I'm a guy that I sit in front of the TV. I shoot my videos from Philadelphia. And on Saturdays, in order to watch like a Carl Froch fight or Carl Frampton, Scott Quigg, Kubet Pulev, in order to watch those fights, and I watch every major fight in every major division, on a Saturday, I got to sit at the TV from like 1 p.m. till like 6 p.m. Then later on that night, because our Showtime, like our Mayweather fights and Pacquiao's and everything like that, over here in the States comes on, like the fighters, the main event fighters get into the ring at around 11 to 12 a.m. So basically, I'm up all that time, and for you guys got it worse, especially if you're in the UK, because y'all gotta wait till 4:30 in the morning to see the main events. But what I'm getting at is, I've watched many Kell Brook fights. I've followed his career just like I do with all the fighters that I cover, and he's good. Now, what I've been saying is, Kell Brook gets stopped and knocked out by Shawn Porter, but that Special K guy, you know, his alias, you know, the guy that he's been built up to be, those 32 wins, 22 knockouts. Okay, now it's time to take the ultimate test in a fighter in which people are saying is the most feared right now, and avoided 147-pound fighter outside of Keith Thurman. You know, they're saying, you know, Mayweather don't want to fight him. You know, nobody don't want to fight Shawn Porter because Shawn Porter knocking everybody out. I say this: Kell Brook has the fundamentals. As far as when I talk about fundamentals, he can jab, he can move, he can throw combinations, and he has defense. But when you look at the record, you say there's no credible competition there. You look at the record, you say there's no credible competition there, but you can look at Shawn Porter's record with his 24 wins, 15 knockouts, 0 losses, and 1 draw. You can say 2 fights with Julio Diaz. Okay, Julio Diaz was the guy that was knocking Amir Khan all over the ring and gave Shawn Porter his first draw. He fought him again. So you got 2 fights with Julio Diaz. You got Paulie Malignaggi, you got Devin Alexander, and what? You know, Alfonso Gomez. That is above Brook's best fights. You know, I'm talking about on paper with Matthew Hatton, 2 fights with Carson Jones, Voislav Sechenko, and Alvaro Robles. So the better fight, the better resume is Shawn Porter's. But Kell Brook is in a situation where he's actually looking pretty calm, and also I have to address that something that's kind of never happens. Kid Galahad, these guys are from the UK, but they're in the United States now, over in college. Him, Kid Galahad, and somebody else, I forgot his name, were watching Shawn Porter spar. So they're sitting watching him spar less than 2 weeks before the fight. And they were working on, you know, jabs, because I look at it like this, and I'm going to just keep it straight 100%. I feel that in order for Kell Brook to win, that Special K guy has to show up, and he has to be the master boxer. We have to see the guy that he's always was supposed to be. See, when it came to Carson Jones, he had stamina, you know, and conditioning issues. And that one win right there, even though he won the fight, but that one fight right there, people said, oh, he got exposed. You know, and then he went through that whole period with the injuries, with the Devin Alexander thing, and then, you know, taking the tune-up fights, getting himself back together. But really, his only credible win is really Voislav Sechenko. You know, but the fundamentals are there. He's got to do a lot of moving, and he's got to survive the first 5 rounds. Because after the first 5 rounds, he's going to be worn out, you know, and Shawn Porter is going to be right there in his face. You know, so he's got to use that boxing ability. He can't get caught up, because Shawn Porter, after a while, if he can't fully knock you out, what he's going to do is he's going to get on the inside and start roughing you up. You know, and start hitting you, you know, with the uppercuts and, you know, the short combinations right there in the phone booth. Kell Brook can't get into that type of fight. Kell Brook's going to have to throw a lot of jabs. Like I said, he's got to be that Special K guy. He's got to jab, and he's got to keep moving, you know, and counter punching. But if you see him, like fighters are known to do these days, if you see him like most recently. Now, right now, it's August the 10th, 2014. I'm TstreeT Controversy. Once again, please subscribe. I talk about boxing. Head over to Real Combat Media if you want inside information, like on, you know, like news articles, you know, media calls, and actually see like how the fights are being made. Real Combat Media, links are right below. And as I said, what I do is I just pretty much portray all the information I gather throughout the week and just, you know, give it back to you in a simpler form. So I'm providing a service. But Kell Brook, when you see most recently 2 fights with Jared Fletcher and Danny Jacobs, and Gennady Golovkin versus Daniel Gill, you know, but those are just 2 examples. But when you see fighters, kind of like also when Erislandy Lara got caught, you know, in the corner when he got knocked down against Alfredo Angulo. If you see Kell Brook in a position like where when he leans on the ropes, and tries to start taking his Shawn Porter's punches. If he does that, and he gets into a habit of doing that, especially if it's rounds 3, 4, 5, or 6, he's going to get knocked out. This is a guy who he cannot touch the ropes, almost like Chris Algieri did against Ruslan Provodnikov. He cannot touch the ropes. He's got to keep moving. So he can keep moving. He can use angles. Like, remember, I'm telling you, this is a guy who can uppercut. He can left hook you. He can right hook you. He can straight you. He has all the fundamental background, but mentally, this guy's coming to the big time now. He's in Cali. He's basically like he's in Hollywood. And then him and his promoter, are over here. Then they bring in Luke Campbell with him, bring Cool Hand Luke with him. They got Kalen Smith. So when I was talking about their promoter, Eddie Hearn, the guy's the real deal. Kell Brook, people are going to say, American fans or people who don't really follow the sport as deeply as I do, they're going to say, oh, Kell Brook is a bum. Who is this guy? Why is he getting the shot? There's a reason why he's at this point despite his record. But I'm going to, say, I'm not going to sit here and just keep talking all day. Please subscribe. All the links to everything is right below. If you want like inside boxing news and all kind of stuff like that, you got to send me a friend request. I got to screen you, make sure you're cool. I also have a like page where I put all my anything I'm watching, where I'm getting my information from, I put that on my like page. So if I'm watching an interview, I put it on my like page. If I'm watching a fight, I put it on my like page. Everything I'm doing, I put it on my like page. My personal Facebook page is for like inside boxing news, where you can really be yourself, and it's a boxing forum basically. And then I got Twitter, Instagram. Real Combat Media is the platform in which I'm going to be using, and I teamed up with to get involved with the media calls, getting to the events, and just getting into that next step, like into boxing now that I have a full boxing channel. But once again, I'm TstreeT Controversy, TstreeT Controversy Live. If you're a rapper, singer, send me your music and I'll use it in my video. It's a win-win situation because I'm going to put the link to it right below. You're going to get the hits. People are going to wonder who you are, whether they're going to hate you or love you. But still, like I said at the beginning of the video, the music is not for you. It's for me. Quinny LaRouge or LaRouge. I'm sorry, you got to tell me how to pronounce it. I believe it's LaRouge. I asked her for some music. She said I can use it. Simple as that. So, win-win situation. TstreeT Controversy, TstreeT Controversy Live.